going on? Welcome back. It is Monday morning, first thing bright and early. We are actually down here. We're in Delaware. You know who's in Delaware. Our good buddy, Mr. John Muldoon, the guy who builds all of our transmissions, Muldoon's Diesel Performance. So that is where we are headed. Back here, let's see, we can get the controls up. You can see we've got both of our transmissions in the back that we brought up here from home. So we will be building both of those. I'm not sure exactly if we'll be able to really squeeze them both in one. You guys know we took a trip down to Suncoast to pick up a new converter and input shaft for the one single cab first gen, and then we also have the extended cab first gen's transmission, which we are staying with the factory transmission. We're not swapping, we're not doing any of that crazy stuff. We are gonna get into all of that today with John and going through and building that stuff. It's gonna be a great day. So strap in, stay tuned, grab your popcorn, get ready, because we are almost there. Hi, John.
Hey, Greg. Right now we're refinishing your pump stator. So you can see some wear right in this area. See where it's shiny and it's discolored?
There we go.
See how it's silver? See how this is more of a tan or a black? It's got like a coating of gray.
Sure.
This indicates the pump gears have worn into the stator a little bit. The right thing to do in this scenario is to refinish it. So we'll take about 2/1000 off and give it a fresh, flat surface.
Nice. My man, how have you been? Say hello.
Hello.
So we've been here for probably about an hour, and we have already broken down the 518. It's already cleaned, prepped. We're finishing up some last little pieces here, but we are pretty much ready to reassemble the 518. That's what we're working on today. Oop.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Something new that you guys didn't do before, right? Sandblasting cases and a different type of paint on all the cases?
We stepped our game up.
Stepped the game up on the paint.
You know, all the cases are pretty old and pretty grimy. And now when we build a trans, we're like, we want them to look better. And blasting them down to that bare aluminum and painting them with a good epoxy paint with the urethane activator.
Yeah.
It's got chemical resistance, so you can like spray brake clean it and
really?
Dump gas on it, it won't.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
It's some robust paint.
So the case and the overdrive housing are already blasted. We just have to paint them, but we are pretty much ready. We're pretty much ready to go reassembling the goodness. So I didn't really say in the beginning here, but we are rebuilding the original trans out of that first gen, which is a 518. But you guys, if you guys follow the last video, you guys would know that we are making that truck into 4-wheel drive. So we're actually swapping, what is it? It's basically the overdrive housing,
yeah,
the whole tail section. So
output shaft.
So it'll be a 4-wheel drive 518 by the time we leave here. Now, we're gonna talk with John here in a little bit about exactly why we are staying with the 518. We're not swapping it to a 47. We'll get into all that, but man, not bad for an hour. All right, John, so let's talk 727, 518, and 47. So the, what is it, 89 to 91 and a half or 90 some, the late first gens have 727s.
Early first gens have 727s.
Or early, I mix up early and late. I suck at that.
90, I believe, was a 727, which is just a 3-speed.
So there's no overdrive and no lockup.
Correct.
And then my truck, seeing that it was a 92, 93, they both have had 518s in them, which no lockup but has overdrive.
4-speed. Yep, so you get
Gotcha,
that additional gear. And I think when they went intercooled, that's when they went to the 518. And the way you'll be able to tell is if you have an overdrive off button on your dash.
Yep, okay.
That's telltale sign.
So
right there.
I think the biggest question that a lot of people will have is why did I not go straight to a 47 swap? We are planning a little bit of power upgrades, but we'll have the VE pump in there for quite a while. So I can kind of see why people with 727s would go right to 47 swap, because what's the point of building a 3-speed? But in our case, we do have overdrive. We don't have lockup, but I guess let's talk a little bit about if we're keeping power within 400, maybe 500, like is there really, what's the advantage of going to a 47 and I guess keeping the 518? What's the, give us the rundown there if someone were to call you and ask that, I guess.
Well, the 518, you don't have a lockup converter and you don't have a triple wrap band. Chrysler, they revised their setup to a triple wrap. So if we look at what's in a 518 or a 727 from the factory, you've got a single wrap band like this. And this is a drum out of a 47, so this isn't, but this is, you know, what you got in a 727 or 518. And this is applied in manual 1 and reverse. And this is a triple wrap band, which has way more friction material. And it's a way more robust setup. It's just overall superior because, you know, it's gonna last longer. They changed the case, they changed the servo. 518s, you know, we build them, I would say 500 horsepower is a safe number. And after that, if somebody wants a full manual where they're constantly, you know, when you're riding a full manual, you're cycling this band when you go into first gear, I recommend doing a 47 RH because these bands are just much more resilient to the abuse than these.
Gotcha.
You know, they changed the case on the 518s. They have a different servo. The whole assembly for this is different. The band strut and everything is different. This is a much better design in my opinion, and it lasts a lot longer.
Gotcha.
So the 727 is your 3-speed. The just hydraulic 1, 2, 3. You know, you've got gear shifts. It's all based on a governor on the tail shaft. As the tail shaft RPM increases, so does the governor pressure, and then that's when you get your upshifts. The 518, your first 3 gears are still going to be governor. Your 4th gear is actually electronic.
Oh.
You've got a solenoid in the on the valve body, and the first gen trucks, they have a PCM. They have a throttle position sensor. So they have some of those, all those early, you know, kind of rudimentary style. There's first iterations of those computers.
Right. Okay. I didn't know that.
Yep. Your truck has a PCM.
Wow. I didn't know that.
It's
when we built my first gen, we 48 swapped it right away because we knew we were going to full manual. We knew that we were going to be making a lot of power. We really, I stripped all of that stuff off there. The transmission doesn't care one bit about any of that stuff, where this, we're going to keep it a little bit more, the way it was right from the factory. We didn't want to like get rid of any of that, all of that stuff, factory hookups, factory computer, all that stuff. We weren't going to be making a ton of power, or we're not planning on making a ton of power right this second. But for now, with the amount of miles and the age of the truck, we don't know when the last time it was touched. So we thought it'd just be better to basically stick with what was in the truck and make it as best as possible for what's in there. We don't have a 727, we have a 518, so we got a little bit better. So yeah, I think that pretty much covered everything. So what are we doing to my 518, I guess, to make it a little bit better?
We're pretty much doing like a super stock build. You know, we've got a nice low stall Suncoast converter.
I saw it sitting over there.
Yeah, it's over there. Non-lockup converter, which they use in their 727s and their 518s. We're reusing the stock input shaft. We discussed that.
Yep.
Since it's a non-lockup, there's not a whole lot of load, especially at your power level. You're going to keep it. I rate the stock inputs at 400.
Mm-hmm. And you're not shocking it, I guess, is.
Nah, when you're in lockup, that converter's locked to, if you can imagine a clutch, how when the clutch pedal is released, that clutch is locked to the crank. Well, it's the same thing when your torque converter's in lockup. So those 4 speeds are, you know, they're a steep gear ratio in between changes. So when you're lockup, there's no forgiveness or fluid coupling to dampen that shock load. You're locked to the crank, and that's why your shifts in lockup feel so strong. Mm-hmm. With a 518 or a 727, you don't have lockup. So the input shaft isn't, like you said, getting shock loaded as often or as hard. I mean, it's not really part of the equation.
Right.
And if you're 400 horsepower power level, I'm confident the stock input shaft will hold up.
Yeah.
Some other things we're doing, we're upgrading the servos in the transmission. Obviously the billet band strut and anchor, that's
all the miscellaneous stuff.
That's stuff you gotta have when you're running a higher pressure valve body. We're doing the valve body, did some nice modifications to that. Gonna crisp up the shifts. Flat stand of the valve body is disassembled, it's ready to be reassembled and then tested. Running the additional clutches in the trans, in the overdrive, and in the direct drum. GPZ clutches, representing rate best today. We love them. I want to put just a nice little factory upgrade. I was going to give you a 47 RE pan, which is, I think, an additional quart over the 518 pan.
This is what we're sticking with for now. Should be nice and should handle all of the power that the VE pump's gonna. Hey, Tommy. Tommy's been working for the last hour getting everything ready. So we're ready. Let's do it.
Let's do a nice mild 518 build. When we broke down your unit about an hour ago, we looked at some of the hard parts. Some of the stuff was a little bit concerning. The rear ring gear, I always look for a lip worn into this. And if you can catch a lip with your fingernail or your pick, that indicates wear, and that's from thrust on the intermediate shaft. This rest is your first part of your intermediate gear train. And if you put it together with this, it's likely that the intermediate gear train would have excessive end play. Which is going to be your thrust washers and all that rides here. There's one without anywhere, so we're going to put that one in.
All right.
Another crucial part with any of your hydraulic governor trannies, 727, 518, 47R each, they have an aluminum front planet. And this won't take any abuse. It'll just strip out these inner splines here. So whenever we do one of these builds, we upgrade to a steel front planet, which won't strip. And that's this is what interfaces with the front ring gear, which is what the forward clutches ride on, and then this is your clutches for your splines for your forward clutch, which is applied in every forward gear. So this goes here.
So
the intermediate
forward gears, wipe that baby right out.
Yeah, when this goes, you'll have reverse, but you won't be able to go forward.
Any forward gears.
Yep. Another thing we always check is, here's an example. These springs in the overdrive for the overdrive directs can collapse. This is an example of a collapsed one. See the difference in height between the two?
Yeah, you can really tell.
Yeah, so we inspect that. The thrust plate had some wear on it for this bearing rides. Again, another fingernail catcher. So we got a new one. We like the Sonax ones. Another upgrade we're doing is, if you look at the architecture of this is the 518 intermediate in comparison to this is a 47 intermediate. you can see where it necks down and the material doesn't have the width. So this is just like a little bit of like a nice OE upgrade. One last thing is whenever I do these units, the anodization on the governor valve.
Is that the proper word? Anodization.
Anodization, yeah. Wow. It's the
That's a lot of syllables.
Hardening process that they apply to this. They do it with electrolysis. And this is, see the wear on that? On the land of that valve?
Yeah.
That goes in the governor. Basically, this thing's on your output shaft spinning. And like I said earlier, the faster this spins, that's going to give your upshift. It's going to raise your governor pressure. 0 PSI at idle, 1 PSI per mile an hour, roughly. Oh, wow. So we do an upgraded, another Sonax goodie. This is the update. And I put these in all of our hydraulic ones. If it doesn't have a steel one, if it's an aluminum, the steel ones never wear. But you see it's got a much longer land. Mm-hmm. And this one won't have the same kind of stress and concentration of side loading in that area, and it's just a good upgrade. It goes in all my hydraulic units. So there's another little thing we're going to do there. So now we're going to build. All right, time to build. Time to build. Always got to inspect, upgrade, little things. It's always the little stuff that'll get you. Yep. So we're ready to rip. Tommy's over here doing things and stuff, and valve body modifications on shift real nice. And when they say real nice, I mean it's very hard.
coming down. Number 700 and 518 on 518. And this baby is done.
Donskis.
She looks beautiful.
Look at it.
Would you just look at it?
Would you just look at it?
Would you just look at it?
Look at it.
I say that way too often in any of my videos.
Nice.
It looks like a gloss black 518.
Looks a lot better.
Ready to get set on fire. I mean, put in a truck. What? Oh, sorry. Stumbled, mumbled. She's done, boys. We went ahead and made sure that our Suncoast Greg A converter is good to go. Fit in there like a glove.
Yeah, it did.
And we're done.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy, all in a day's work. Number 2 coming up tomorrow.
Hey.
Well, maybe not tomorrow for you guys. Tomorrow for us, though.
That was fun.
Anything else to note that we didn't hit on in the beginning there?
Alright, it's good. It's very nice.
Just very nice. All right, she's done. Ready to rip.
That thing's ready to go in.
Ready for a T-case and 4-wheel drive action. We have traveled back home now from John's, but that wraps up pretty much day 1 on the new 518 build. If you guys have any questions, drop them below. We will check them out and try to get back to you if you have any 518 questions or 47 questions, stuff like that. If you guys need a 518 build or even a 727, obviously he's got you covered on pretty much all of the Chrysler Dodge transmissions. So hit John up if you guys need something like that. He is the man. Like I mentioned in the video, could I have installed a shift kit and slapped a converter in that transmission by myself in an afternoon? The answer is yes, but it's every little thing that we found in there that had some wear. The clutches weren't really super bad. John did mention that it looked like somebody was in there possibly once before him, but again, it's worth the trip, it's worth the effort, it's worth having everything gone through, freshened up. You guys know we are not easy on anything by any means. So having a fresh bill of health, ready to go, finding all those little things that could have caused trouble down the road or shortly right after we were finished doing anything in the driveway, it's worth the peace of mind for me. Always a good time hanging out with John and Tommy and all those guys up there. So 518 is crossed off the list. We now have a I would say built 518 four-wheel drive. So it's ready to kind of bolt on that 205 T-case. Oh, Reagan's out here. Reagan's out here. She's a little grumpy today. But anyway, that is going to wrap it up. Make sure you guys hit up John if you guys need any stuff like I mentioned before. I'll drop all of his information below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Next up, I'm not sure if it'll be the next video, but we are actually headed back tomorrow. And we are going to tear down the other first gen, the single cab first gen, after it caught fire. Check out the damage, everything. Make sure that thing is good. So we got a lot of that stuff coming up. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Hit the like button before you leave. Subscribe if you have not. And check out the roosters, chickens. I'll see you guys tomorrow. See you.